Welcome back guys. In this video I'll be showing you how to use DLSS Upscaler version 4 transformer model in all of the Resident Evil games that use RE engine. Now all of these games have gorgeous visuals, no doubt about it, but all of them only support FSR upscaler. They don't support upscalers like DLSS and XeSS. Yes, you heard it right. FSR upscaler in these games produces very ugly texture shimmering issue. I highlighted this in my Resident Evil 4 remake video where I showed you how to use DLSS version 3.8. I'll be updating the following guide made by Reddit user Johan, published on PC Gaming subreddit page. When using DLSS upscaler in Resident Evil games, Mipmap issues will occur. This problem won't be present in the case of DLAA, which is basically anti-aliasing. Image resolution is at 100%. Mipmap issues will become more noticeable at lower quality levels of the upscaler like balance, performance and ultra performance. In order to fix the problem, we need to use Nvidia Profile Inspector. In that application, we need to set transparency super sampling to the following option, and then we need to set the LOD bias value to any of these values depending on the quality mode of the upscaler selected. For example, I'll be using the quality level of DLSS, so I need to set the LOD bias value to minus 0.5000. If we are using balance, just set the value to -1. For performance, it's -1.5, and for ultra performance, it's -2. If you don't want to use DLSS upscaler, just want to use DLAA, completely skip Nvidia Profile Inspector. You don't need to change anything from here. They have even provided some comparisons. This is a screenshot from Resident Evil Village. DLSS upscaler quality level has been set to performance. On the right side, we have LOD fix applied. On the left side, the fix is not applied. I'll just move this slider. Keep an eye on Ethan's hair and Mia's sweater. Yeah, you can see the difference. Ethan's hair look much better with the LOD fix applied. See? The mod comes with a couple of issues. Flashing wet surface, light bulb. It's recommended to disable bloom or just enable TAA anti-aliasing, but enabling TAA can cause some coasting issue around the character model. The mod makes the game's HUD elements a bit blurry, especially at lower quality modes of DLSS upscaler. Make sure the rendering mode is set to normal and you have disabled the in-game upscaler like FSR 2.1. I'll be using REFramework with the Steam version of Resident Evil games in order to get DLSS upscaler working. We need to use the correct version of REFramework depending on the game version. We'll be using build 1051. You can download it for free from REFramework's GitHub page. I'll give the link in the description. Need to have a free GitHub account in order to download any stuff from here. Just download RE2, RE3, RE4, RE7 and RE8 from here. Click on the download icon next to them. Next step is very important. We need to download an older version of upscaler based plugin from Nexus Mods. Need to have a free Nexus Mods account in order to download any stuff from here. Just download this version 1.1.2. Don't download the latest version of it. It's not compatible with REFramework. Click on manual download. Click on slow download. Download the latest version of DLSS upscaler from Tech Power Up's website. At the time of recording this video, it's version 310.2.1.0. Click on download here. Click on any of these servers. Download will start. The original Nvidia Profile Inspector app has not been updated in a very long time, so I'll be using a fork of it called Nvidia Profile Inspector Revamped, developed by Hybrid. They have released many PC game mods in the past. Well-known member of PC gaming community, it's safe to use this application. New features have been mentioned here. We can use the latest version of DLSS upscaler, version 4 transformer model in any game that supports an older version of DLSS. We don't need to change the game files. We can manually set the model presets. It works just like Nvidia app now. However, this method won't work in Resident Evil games as they don't support DLSS upscaler natively. Just click on releases here. Download the latest version. Click on the .zip link. We need to force enable DLSS upscaler auto exposure setting in these Resident Evil games. Not sure how to do this using Nvidia Profile Inspector, so I'll be using the latest version of DLSSTweaks. You can download it for free from Nexus Mods. Click on manual download, click on slow download. I'll also force enable preset K using DLSSTweaks. First I'll show you how to set up Nvidia Profile Inspector and just open nvpi revamp.zip file. Copy all the files and folders present inside this archive file. Go back, paste. In order to verify the upscaler's preset selected, I'll be enabling DLSS Debug Overlay. Just execute this registry file, enable DLSS UI, run. We need to use preset K in order to enable the transformer model of DLSS. If you want to disable the debug overlay, just execute this registry file, disable DLSS UI. Now just open Nvidia Profile Inspector Revamped folder. Execute Nvidia Profile Inspector.exe file. This is Nvidia Profile Inspector. Just click on the drop down bar next to profiles. First, I'll set the settings for Resident Evil 2. Just type Resident, there it is, Biohazard 2. Click on it. If this game had support for an older version of DLSS Upscaler using Nvidia Profile Inspector, we could have used the latest version of DLSS Upscaler. I'll show you the process for it. Just click on DLSS SR Override drop down bar. SR stands for Super Resolution. On. Now set the DLSS SR preset. Click on the drop down bar next to it. Different options, preset K, transform model. You can even select latest preset. Now click on apply. The process is that simple. You don't need to manually update the DLSS Upscaler DLL file. Now the game will be running with the latest version of DLSS Upscaler with preset K selected. Unfortunately, this method won't work for any of the Resident Evil games as they don't support DLSS Upscaler natively. Just change the settings, revert to default. Back to the task at hand. Scroll down until you find the anti-aliasing section. There it is. You need to set anti-aliasing transparency super sampling to mode replay mode all from this drop down bar. Now just set texture filtering LOD bias value to minus 0.5000. This is for DLSS Upscaler's quality mode. Select the value from this drop down bar. It's minus 1 for balance quality mode, minus 1.5 for performance quality mode, and minus 2 for ultra performance mode. I'll stick with minus 0.5000. Click on apply changes. Do the same thing for Resident Evil 3. Search for it. There's Resident Evil 3 remake. Scroll down until you find the anti-aliasing section. Set transparency super sampling to mode replay mode all. LOD bias value to minus 0.5000. Apply. Search Resident Evil 4. This Biohazard 4. Set transparency super sampling to mode replay mode all. LOD bias value to minus 0.5000. Apply. Same thing for Resident Evil 7. Transparency super sampling set to mode replay mode all. LOD bias value minus 0.5000. Resident Evil Village. Anti-aliasing transparency super sampling set to mode replay mode all. LOD bias value set to minus 0.5000. Apply. Just to be clear, you only need to tweak settings from Nvidia Profile Inspector if you are planning to use DLSS Upscaler in these Resident Evil games. If you are planning to use DLAA, don't need to change any setting from here. First, I'll show you the setup process for Resident Evil 3 Remake. Highlight the texture shimmering issue. Open re3.zip file. Need to install REFramework. Open re3.zip file again. Copy this DLL file, tinput 8. Need to paste it in the game's installed directory. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, browse local files. This is the game's installed directory. This is the game's main exe file. Paste the DLL file. Now open Upscaler base plugin.zip file. Open Upscaler base plugin folder. Copy this DLL file. Paste it in the same directory where you pasted dinput8.dll file. Now open DLSS Upscaler's archive file, latest version of DLSS. Copy, paste it in the same directory where you pasted the previous files. Right here. Now I'll install DLSSTweaks. Open its archive file. Copy the highlighted files. 3 of them. Paste them in the games install directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to dxgi.dll. Execute DLSSTweaks config.exe file. More info, run anyway. This window will pop up. From here you need to click on the drop down bar next to override auto exposure and set it to force enable, maximize. I'll be using the quality level of DLSS Upscaler, so click on the drop down bar next to quality here. Set the preset to K. Same thing for DLAA, K. Click on save, close. That's it, we are ready to run the game. REFramework will initialize at game launch. Process complete. Now we have access to all of its settings. Just expand temporal upscaler section. First option enabled. This enables DLSS upscaler. So if you want to disable it, just uncheck this option. If you want to use DLAA, check the second option, use native resolution. Sharpness option does not work. Just disable it. Upscaler can be selected from here, DLSS. Its quality level can be changed from this drop down bar. I'll select quality. Rest of the settings are left as is. First I'll disable DLSS upscaler, show you native FSR1 image. Uncheck enable. In-game graphics settings, resolution, full HD. I've enabled ray tracing, everything set to high. Rendering mode, normal, very important. Don't set it to interlace. I'll enable FSR upscaler, it's version 1, using its ultra quality mode. In-game VSync off. Anti-aliasing set to TA, high. Will disable post-processing effects like bloom, lens flare, motion blur, depth of field, lens distortion. That's it. We are in. There's chill. Just look at the flow textures here. Mesh textures. So much texture shimmering is going on. This is why we need to use DLSS Upscaler. Oh my god. Shimmering effect is horrendous. Just disable FSR Upscaler now. Off. Disable anti-aliasing as well. Expand temporal upscaler section. Click on enable. First I'll demonstrate DLAA. Back to the game. Just check out the debug overlay in the bottom left corner. Preset K is being used. This means transformer model of DLSS got activated. Base resolution 1919 by 1079 pixels upscale to full HD. This is DLAA, and observe the flow textures now, the mesh textures. Shimmering effect has been reduced considerably by DLAA. This is amazing. REFramework mod works very nicely. Image quality during motion, massive improvement. It's a shame that this game still does not support DLSS Upscaler. Okay, now I'll use the quality mode of DLSS. 90 to 100 FPS with DLAA. Process is very simple, just uncheck use native res setting here. Quality level set to quality. Supported quality levels, balance, performance, ultra performance. Back to the game. Check out the debug overlay. Base resolution dropped to around 720p, upscale to full HD resolution. So DLSS Upscaler is also working. FPS increased to around 105. Considerably less texture shimmering even with the quality preset of DLSS compared to FSR Upscaler. But DLAA produced the best results. Now I'll test the next game. The process is exactly the same for the remaining games. I'll show you the process for Resident Evil 2. Open re2.zip file. Need to install REFramework first. Open re2.zip file again. Copy this DLL file, tinput 8. Paste it in the game's install directory. Select re2 in your Steam library. Right click, manage, browse local files. Paste the file here. Open Upscaler base plugin.zip file. Open Upscaler base plugin folder. Copy this DLL file, paste it in the games install directory where you pasted the previous DLL file right here. Open DLSS Upscaler archive file, copy this DLL file, paste it in the games install directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Now we need to install DLSSTweaks. Open its archive file, copy the highlighted files, paste it in the games install directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to txgi.dll. Open DLSSTweaks config.exe file. Run anyway. Just set force auto exposure to force enable. Scroll down until you find DLSS preset section. For quality, set the preset to K. Same thing for DLAA. Save, close. That's it, we are ready to run the game. Open REFramework menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. Expand temporal upscaler section. Check the first option, enable. First I'll use DLAA, so I'll enable the second option, use native resolution. Sharpness setting does not work even in this game. Rest of the settings are left as this. Upscaler set to DLSS. Balance mode won't work as I have enabled DLAA. Close. Show you the in-game settings. Display mode full screen, resolution set to full HD. Rendering mode normal, very important, don't set it to interlace. Image quality 100%. You need to disable the in-game FSR upscaler when using REFramework's DLSS. Frame rate variable, VSync off, anti-aliasing off. High settings, texture quality 3GB. Mesh quality, shadow quality max. Disable post-processing effects like bloom, lens flare, motion blur, and depth of field. Lens distortion, film noise disabled as well, my bad. We are in, there's Leon. Check out the detailed character model. Text on his vest is looking so sharp, RPD. DLAA is working. So dark. Oh no, there's a zombie here. Grab me. Okay, I'll switch to DLSS Upscaler quality level.
What the?
Open REFramework menu. Expand temporal upscaler. Uncheck DLAA setting. Set quality level to quality, whichever quality level you want to use. Back to the game. Yeah, FPS increased to around 120. Image quality is still looking sharp, not bad at all. You can see in the debug overlay base resolution dropped to around 720p. Zombie character model, so detailed. Now I'll be testing the next game. Everyone's favorite, Resident Evil 4. Just open re4.zip file. We need to install REFramework first. Open re4.zip file again. Copy this DLL file, tinput8. Paste it in the game's install directory. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, browse local files. Paste the file here. Open Upscaler base plugin archive file. Open Upscaler base plugin folder. Copy this DLL file. Paste it in the same directory where you pasted the previous DLL file. Open DLSS Upscaler's archive file. Copy this DLL file. Paste it in the games directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Now we need to install DLSSTweaks. Open its archive file. Copy the highlighted files. Need to load DLSSTweaks as nvngx. Copy, paste them in the games install directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Execute this registry file. Run. Yes. Okay. Go back to the games install directory. Run this exe file DLSSTweaks config. More info, run. Expand. Set override auto exposure to force enable. Set model preset to K for DLAA and quality, whichever quality mode you are using. Save, close, run the game. Open REFramework menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. Expand temporal section. Enable the first option, enable. I'll be using DLAA first. Enable the second option, use native resolution. Sharpness setting off, does not work. Rest of the settings are left as this. In the debug overlay, you can see the base resolution, upscale resolution. Preset K is used. Version of the upscaler 310.2.1. Game's HUD is looking very blurry. In game settings, from here you need to disable FSR upscaler. Resolution full HD. FSR 2, it's set to quality. Set it to off. FSR 1 off. Image quality 100%. Rendering mode normal. Don't set it to interlace. Anti-aliasing off using the high settings. Disable post-processing effects. Bloom off. Motion blur off. Lens flare, lens distortion, depth of field off. That's it. There's Leon. Just check out the textured pattern on his jacket. Easily visible all thanks to DLAA. Character model. No texture shimmering going on in the background around the leaves of the tree. See? Open REFramework menu, press the insert keyboard key. Uncheck DLAA setting. Click on the drop down bar next to quality level and select quality. In the debug overlay, you can see base resolution drop to around 720p. Your game's HUD element will flicker like this. Back to the game, FPS increased to around quite detailed. Check out Leon's jacket. Can still make out the details, the textured pattern. No texture shimmering going on around the leaves of the tree. Now I'll be testing Resident Evil 7. Oh my god, what's that? Install REFramework first. Open re7.zip file. Open re7.zip file again. Copy the DLL file. Paste it in the game's install directory. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. Paste the DLL file here. Open upscaler base plugin.zip file. Open upscaler base plugin folder. Copy the DLL file. Paste it in the game's install directory where you pasted the previous DLL file. Open DLSS Upscaler's archive file. Copy DLL file. Paste it in the games directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Need to install DLSSTweaks now. Open its archive file. Copy the highlighted files. Paste them in the games install directory where you pasted the mod files. We'll be changing the name of nvngx.dll file to txgi.dll. This way, we don't need to execute DLSSTweaks registry file. Run DLSSTweaks config.exe file. More info, run anyway. Expand. Set override auto exposure to force enable. We'll be using the K preset for DLAA and quality level. Save, close, run the game. Open REFramework menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. Expand temporal upscaler section. Check the first option enabled. First I'll use DLAA. Check the second option, use native res. Sharpness setting off, does not work. Rest of the settings are left as this. Close in-game settings. I'm using full HD resolution. Ray tracing on, using its medium preset. Display mode full screen, FPS unlock. VSync off. Rendering mode normal, very important, don't set it to interlace. In-game FSR 1 upscaler off, using very high settings. Can't disable anti-aliasing setting in this game. Using DLAA. Motion blur off, depth of field disabled as well. Disable all of the post-processing effects. Lens flare bloom disabled. Chromatic aberration disabled as well. That's it. We are in. Check out the image quality. Everything is looking so sharp. In the debug overlay you can see the base resolution and the upscale resolution. Open REFramework menu, uncheck DLAA, click on the drop down bar next to quality level. I'll use quality. Back to the game. Here FPS increased to around 80, not a big improvement in performance, depends on the scene. In the yard we are getting close to 90 FPS now. It's an improvement. Check out the image quality of this power line. No aliasing is produced, all thanks to DLSS. Now I'll be testing the next game. Last but not least, Resident Evil 8. First install REFramework. Open re8.zip file. Open re8.zip file again. Copy this DLL file, de-input it. Paste it in the game's installed directory. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. Paste the DLL file here. Open Upscaler base plugin archive file. Open Upscaler base plugin folder. Copy this DLL file. Paste it in the game's installed directory where you pasted the previous DLL file right here. Open DLSS Upscaler's archive file. Copy this DLL file. Again paste it in the game's installed directory where you pasted the previous DLL files. Need to install DLSSTweaks now. Open its archive file. Copy the highlighted files. Paste them in the game's installed directory where you pasted the previous DLL files right here. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to txgi.dll. Run DLSSTweaks config.exe file. More info run anyway. Set override auto exposure to force enable. Force enable preset K for DLAA and quality. Whichever quality mode you want to use. Save, close, run the game. Open REFramework's menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. Expand temporal upscaler section. Check the first option enabled. First I'll use DLAA. Check its setting. Sharpness level does not work. Disable, enable does not matter. Rest of the settings are left as this. In-game settings, I have set the resolution to Full HD. From here just disable FSR Upscaler. Rendering mode should be set to normal, not interlace. Image quality 1. Variable rate shading off. I am using the high settings. Even enable ray tracing using its medium preset. Disable post-processing effects like bloom, lens flare, film noise, depth of field, lens distortion. That's it. We are in. You can see game's HUD is slightly flickering due to the mod. 70 FPS, everything is looking so clean. This is amazing. We play Resident Evil Village from a first perspective, unlike Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is played from a third person perspective. In the debug overlay, we can see that the base and the upscale resolution are almost the same. DLAA preset K is being used. DLSS version latest. I'll just switch to DLSS quality mode now. Open REFramework menu, uncheck use native res setting. Click on the drop down bar next to quality level and select quality, whichever quality level you want to use. Back to the game. FPS increased to around 80. Image quality is still looking sharp. In the debug overlay, you can see page resolution dropped to around 720p. So DLSS Upscaler is working. Resolution upscale from 720p to full HD. So REFramework mod worked in all of these Resident Evil games. It does an amazing job of improving the image quality compared to FSR Upscaler. Highly recommended from my side. That's it with the video, guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.